Well, hey guys, how are we enjoying this ride so far? One of the cool things about traveling fast is that you do it for a very sustained period of time and you kind of start getting in the zone, right? Okay, so let's just say we're clicking down. That's what we've been doing all this time. And it feels pretty good, right? So say you're rolling about 80 or 85 or so. That's generally kind of the speed you're going to be going anywhere on United States highways. Well, there comes a time when your awareness of that kind of becomes second nature. After you get out into some fresh air, a couple hour or so, and you're just kind of in a zone, right? Okay, now at the same time, you can have kind of a conscious awareness. Say somebody is riding alongside of you, either in a car or whatever, and you've got a focus that's on them as well. So you can talk to them at the same time that you're driving a vehicle barreling down the highway at 85 or 90 miles an hour, right? And we do it as kind of a second nature. We don't even really think too much about it, right? Or say we're riding, we got our bikes out and we have headsets, and I can talk to you all the way over there, all the way back there, 2 miles back, okay? So my attention could be on you at the same time that I'm riding this bike. So how we're gonna kind of explain that is there's floodlight attention and spotlight attention, okay? Now the spotlight is on you, and I'm talking to you as a guest in my vehicle or as a guest in my head through some kind of Bluetooth arrangement that we have where we're riding. And then I have my floodlight attention, which is on the road and on the landscape and on the places that we're going. I know my map in my head, I know where we're going, right? And I'm going to show you how easy it is to go between these two types of awareness, which is pretty simple. Where did my horse go? Like right now you're listening to the sound of my voice, right? At the same time, so I'm your spotlight. At the same time now, sit and listen for just a minute about whatever it is that's outside of the room that you're in. Whether that's outdoors outside of the room, you can hear traffic or birds or things going by, kids playing out there, or somebody in the next room. Maybe somebody's making some food or they're doing something in the next room, right? Okay, you didn't have to move at all to change the position of your awareness, right? Try it again. Listen to the sound of my voice. This is your spotlight. Now go ahead and give you a floodlight. Reach and listen to other things that are going on in the space that you're in, outside the space that you're in. Hey! Okay, now we got you back. That's kind of the same type of thing. I'm trying to make you aware of how that it is we have actually two different sets of awareness that operate together, but at essentially different vibrations or awarenesses, levels of awareness. Now, if something should happen in that kind of floodlight awareness, we see a sign come up, we can focus that floodlight back on it and know a reasonable way that we need to respond, right? Okay, so, but as we're going along, I want you to kind of pay attention to that kind of thought process about how that it is we can go through with those two different kinds of awareness that we have. Because I'm going to tell you an amazing story right now. And we're just going to keep on clicking down, man. We're just going to keep rolling at this floodlight level of awareness. 85 miles an hour, just cruising easy on the highway. I'm going to go around here and pick up some things. See what else we got in here to pick up. Okay, but at the same time, my focus is on you. Now, an interesting thing that happened, and part of the reason that I want to explain all of this stuff, oh boy, I could have had all those rats, guys. Part of the reason I want to explain all this awareness, because I also want you to understand that there's things that will come up in your floodlight awareness that are things that are already prepared there for you. Okay, so what I'm trying to get you to understand is, right now there's a guy working at McDonald's, and he's already there. Okay, these things already exist, even if they're outside of your immediate consciousness, and yet the guy is going to be there. If you go get you an Egg McMuffin or a chicken sandwich or whatever it is that you go to get, chances are someone's going to be there. That guy is already installed in that position to suit that need that you have, okay, or the desire that you have, the want that you have. All right? So what I'm trying to let you know is that all kinds of things are already in place for you to live the life that you want to live. Whether it's you want a sausage McMuffin or you want to be a CEO, okay? And there really is very little difference between any of those things, and I'm going to tell you a couple of stories that are going to make you believe it, okay? So just stick with me here, because I'm still learning how to do this. One of the things, it just goes that easy from there, but I've been discussing with another one the fact that we were talking about the wiring in the house that I did, and then she was talking about the wiring that she did as a factory worker back in the late 90s, and she installed wiring in electric mirrors in Ford vehicles. So if any of you are driving a 99 or later Ford vehicle, you may have had this angel put the electric mirror remote wiring in that mirror for you, so that every time that you go to move that electric mirror, it's going to move. I personally know the guy that put that in there, and that kind of seems like a guardian angel type of a thing, doesn't it? Right now when you think about it. But what I'm look at these guys. Okay. I'm going to let them mind their business. So the mirror is going to work. And we kind of take things like that for granted because we just assume that it will work. We don't think about the guy that put all the wiring in there to make that to work. Now, do we? Okay, one of the things that I enjoy about going out of my 99 or so Chevy truck, not only have electric mirrors, but I have electric heated seats, which, man, I'm a big fan of. And a lot of people ask me, you live in Texas, why do you have heated seats in your truck? And I'll tell you what, if it's under 40, electric heated seat on, because it's just really yummy. So, yeah, I love my heated seats. I will never have another vehicle that doesn't have those. That's fantastic stuff. So somebody at some point has made my life this amazing thing that I appreciate and enjoy very much. Somebody in 1998 or so wired up the electric seats in my truck, and before that somebody had to imagine and create all of the components and parts so that this thing would happen for me in my life. And it's a thing I didn't even know that I wanted. The truck just came with it when we bought the truck, but I found out, man, that's a good thing. But that's a thing that was just a given to me. It was already there in the universe, and it's a thing that I don't take for granted on the surface of it, because I love my heated seats, but I was taking a little bit for granted to realize that somebody put those there long time ago now. Okay, that's an old truck, but I love my truck and I love my heated seats. So another thing that happened that goes along this story, I'm just going to get wilder and wilder as we go, as far as things falling into place for you in the direction that you're supposed to go. And here's the thing, would I be on this game right now? I have found myself, even doing these videos right now that I'm doing, was all conspired by a series of events that happened, wherein which I ended up with not one but two free, very large televisions. And that's, generally, people get things like this for Christmas and stuff. Okay, it's not the thing that it just falls into your lap, right? Yet here it is. We got not one, but two. You know, this is the TV that I play on. It's 42-inch flat screen, man, given to us. Okay, and this is just part of the life that we live. These things come into our life and awareness. They were already there. The person that gave this TV to me bought it many years ago. They're moving out of state, and they said it's just about as easy, rather than try to pack these things up, to buy new ones when we get there, you know, to where they're going. So for them, that was the easier choice. So we got these two TVs, and we knew what to do with the one, which is when I wired this house, I put electrical outlets in the garage up high because I knew I wanted a television up in the corner of my garage, so that when the guys came over, we could watch football, or sometimes I'll watch the you know, car shows, things like all kinds of things. So, you know, so I got my good coffee. Everybody knows me, that knows I got my good coffee pot out there for my fellas, and so we put a television. But you know, it spent 2 years with nothing hooked up to that specific outlet, and you know, the LAN cable is there, everything, Cat 5, but we didn't have the television because we didn't plan, you know, we just didn't buy it yet. That had not happened. It wasn't that important, so it wasn't on the list. So next thing you know, and that's a 38-inch screen, I think, we got out there, but it's got a better sound system than this one, so we put that one out in the garage. And then this television sat on my living room floor in front of my couch for about 3 months, because I designed this house very specifically to accord some of the artwork and furniture that I have, and it's kind of an unusual arrangement. It's not your standard classic floor plan. It's one that I specifically designed for me. So I didn't leave places for big televisions on the walls. I made a specific place for a television that we already have in the living room. Okay, so I got this extra big 42-inch screen television. What am I doing with that? You know, I don't know. So my thought process is, somebody at some point will come along, and we thought about selling it or just giving it to someone, but everyone we know has television, more than one television. Okay, we live in a really blessed society, in that most households here where we live in the United States have at least one television or some kind of monitors and things. Okay, so we don't know anybody that needs an extra television. So it sat there in the living room. Well, what I didn't know was that within 3 months of her giving us these televisions, I would be buying a console and Red Dead Redemption Online. And the television that we have in the living room, that would have been really inconvenient because of the placement of it. It's kind of a highly placed. It's okay for watching TV, you know, if you sit back on the couch, but it's too far away to do something like play a video game and hook it up and play all that. So sure enough, somebody knew I was going, and I probably just wouldn't have spent if I'd have had to spend the extra money to do that. Okay, we bought the console for $300, which came with 2 controllers, 2 headsets, 12 games, all the wires, extra USB stuff, all kinds of extra stuff, man. I mean, couldn't have asked for a better deal on the it was a done deal, man. There's no, I could have taken it and bought it just to make money on all the pieces, and I traded some of the games and gave some away as gifts, because one of those games happened to be the exact game that the friend of mine, Shaman, you guys met him, was wanting. That's the guy that got me on the game. Well, Horizon Zero Dawn was one of the games that he had been looking for and wanting, and didn't really want to spend the money to get it. Well, that was one of the games that was in the package that I bought, and I didn't want it. I didn't want nothing to do with that. So that worked out really well, and I just ended up giving that to him. So those things were already prepared and in my way, just run into. And the hyper focus, the close focus, comes in when you realize to connect those kinds of things, right? Okay, so that's kind of what happened. So this TV sits in my floodlight awareness. I walk past it for 3 months every day, and then all of a sudden we know we're going to play Red Dead. Oh, now we know, and we got pinpoint awareness back on it, why that this TV was given to us. Okay, but that thing was already on its way. That thing was already ready for me. Okay, and that's what I'm saying. The pieces and parts and components of things that you need going forward on the path that you're supposed to be on are already going to have been there. Like right now, for those of us in the United States, we'll have Christmas that's coming up pretty soon. All the Christmas presents that you're going to buy or get, or Hanukkah, whatever you guys are doing, Kwanzaa, whatever you're doing for gifts for the holidays that are coming up, those gifts are already there somewhere. They're already sitting in an Amazon warehouse or, you know, somebody's Etsy table. They're already making them with the thought process that this is what's going to, okay, see what I mean? This is kind of what I'm trying to get you to understand is like a floodlight awareness of the future of things in your awareness. Okay? And now I'm going to tell you a really remarkable work. So we're in a place. I've told you about having had worked in that shoe store. Okay. So here we are in Texas and all these kinds of things. And I wasn't where I thought I wanted to be. Lots of different things kind of were going on. But eventually, at some point, that turned over a new leaf, and now I'm not working in the shoe store. So we're doing other things. And one of the things, we go into the kind of local, larger town that's here, and there's a place there called Books A Million. Okay, it's kind of an indie bookstore, and they kind of got a little bit of everything, right? And we would go there occasionally. We'd go to the town and eat Chinese food or something like that. And so we end up going, and there wasn't anything that I wanted at the time, you know, we're just kind of cruising along, but there was some, you know, Hawk wanted to go by and look at, they had music, they had old record vinyl and everything like that in there as well. And so he's looking through that stuff, and I'm just kind of milling about in the store because I don't really want to be there again. You know, here's this thing, but because I just wasn't very good about just rolling with it, you know, at the time. So, but I'm cool, I'm chilling, I'm just walking around looking at stuff, but there isn't anything that I'm interested in and nothing that I want. So that's kind of what I'm doing. And I kind of go back to one section, and I see a book that I guess looked interesting enough to me, and again, good for me that I'm tall because it was way up on the top shelf, and so I go ahead and I pull this up there, okay? And I'm just kind of flipping through the pages of the book. I kind of get an idea, you know, read a chapter or two, and it's, you know, dead silent in here. Nobody, there's maybe 12 or 15 people or so kind of milling about, but they're, you know, they're in their own worlds, reading their own thing with their own little pinpoint focus. And so was I, but I'm just kind of open to things. So next thing you know, I flip the page over, and there's a little square piece of paper in there, maybe about 2.5 by 3 inches or so, like this, right? And it has an unusual symbol on it. A really nice ink copy of this little symbol that I found out later is called a triskelion. Okay, and it's a very ancient, powerful symbol. And it is comprised of 3 legs, which are kind of in a radius. If you guys think of what a swastika kind of looks like, it's kind of arranged like that, only it's 3 human legs arranged like that. It actually is on the flag of the Isle of Man, and then a similar achievement is on the flag of Sicily, in that it has that has a Gorgon head or Medusa head in the middle of it as well. Okay, but this has its roots way, way, way back, and kind of ancient England and all this kind of stuff, right? So this is, you know, here's this little thing, it's in the book, and it just seems like that seems like a kind of an important thing for me to have found in this book that's way up here on the shelf, and that's the book I picked, and here's this little nice, you know, print-ready copy of this ancient symbol. It's like, wow, what, you know, and I recognized the symbol, but I didn't really understand the symbology of it or anything like that. It didn't really apply to me, but I also feel like I don't necessarily want to put it back in the book and put it back on the shelf. So I kept a little piece of paper and I put the book back on the shelf. So I'm walking around with it, and I'm thinking, I guess I'll tell Hawk about it in a minute here. But what I also did was, from that pinpoint awareness that I have, where I'm curious about this little symbol that I'm faced with now, that I wasn't expecting. Like I said, had no really interest. I had no interest in being there, but yet here I am with this symbol now walking around. So I let my pinpoint awareness of that kind of flood open into more of a floodlight awareness. So I kind of expand my look around. I wasn't really looking for Hawk, specifically, but I just was like, okay, what am I doing with this? So it becomes like a floodlight awareness, okay? I'm feeling around the building, the space, the books, the aisles, the people that are in them. And as I'm kind of doing that, I noticed that there's a very short woman that's kind of doing the same thing that I had been doing earlier. She's just kind of milling about. She's looking at books, but she's not really paying attention to looking at books. She's just kind of milling about in there mindlessly, okay? And she just looks different. Now my floodlight awareness has targeted this specific person. I see other people. There are other people there, but they don't have the same vibe as she does, okay? And like I said, she's every bit of 4 feet and 6, okay? It's just a very, very short lady. You understand? Okay, now, let me ask you again, are you catching this? Okay, because I said I was tall. I had to get the book off the shelf, right? She's 4 feet and 6. She's not reaching that book unless she goes through all these, they had little step stools and stuff set around, so you can, short people can get to the high places and stuff. But it seems to be very convenient for me that here I am walking around with this, and she's looking around, and I look around, and I said, and I'm new at this, so I didn't really know. I felt kind of awkward to just walk up to some stranger in a bookstore and say, hey, excuse me. But that's exactly what I did. Hey, excuse me. I think maybe this is for you. And I handed her this little piece of paper, and she looked at it, and she looked at me. And let me tell you guys what, she shrieked. That is the proper term for the word for what she did in this dead silent bookstore. She shrieked because it caught her so off guard with what it is that I had just, and it caught me right now. I want to talk about pinpoint focus now, because it was almost like the response was so intense compared to, I just handed her this. Everybody in the bookstore looked. It was the whole entire thing, right? All of the things. And she said, where did you find this? I have been looking for one of these for 3 years. And I said, oh really? Okay, well, okay. And if she's been looking for 3 years, and it's not because there are not renditions of this all over the place. She has Google. There are images, searches on any kind of a thing, and there are books on ancient symbols and things like that, and maybe that's what she thought she was there looking for, to find a good print-ready copy of this particular symbol that she's looking for, right? No, so she's been looking for 3 years and hasn't found the one that she liked or wanted for a very specific reason that she has for herself. So it's been kind of a journey that she's kind of been on doing. And that's what she said. I've been looking for one of these for 3 years, but I wanted just the right one because I'm going to get it tattooed on the back of my neck. For whatever reason, this symbology had some kind of special and sacred meaning for her. Enough so that she wanted to permanently affix it to her skin on the back of her neck, which you guys know is kind of, if anybody has one, that's a difficult tattoo to get, right? Okay. Of any decent size. But this was I've never been here before. This is the first time she's ever been in Books A Million. She had been relatively new to the area. She'd been there within about the year or so. And, so she was just kind of exploring some of the places. She's like, I don't need any books. I guess I was just seeing kind of what was in here, I guess. But here she is milling about. She's never been there. She just kind of, out of the blue, out of nowhere, quote unquote, you know, she's driving past on the whatever highway that is, and decides to pull in there and go ahead and stop and look around in this bookstore. And here this tall cowgirl hands her exactly the thing that she's been looking for 3 years, man. What are the chances of this thing happening, guys? Because now she's got it, right? She listened to those little intuitions, and we listened to our little intuitions, and we're talk about perfect timing, right? Man, we're hitting on all cylinders, and it's tight as a Swiss watch. Man, we're not even talking about engines at this point, man. We're talking about Swiss watch timing, okay? And so, man, that was a thrill. I mean, think about that. Somebody, somewhere along the line, got this book, bought it maybe new or a garage sale, read the book. For some reason, they decided to have this perfectly print-ready copy of this Triskelion on a little sheet of paper that they put in the book, maybe as a bookmarker, and they forgot about it. I don't know. Why did they put that in the book? It's already in the book. Who knows how long it's been in the book? 70s. Okay, and then somebody you know, took the book and sold it to Books A Million, or you know, whatever, because that's what they do, is they buy old, vintage, used, all kinds of different books. So whoever it is, the book owner or an estate or something, ends up taking and putting this book, taking it into this Books A Million, this one in this town. And then the guy comes and he looks through the book, and he doesn't see that, so it doesn't fall out. He takes the money, puts the book on the pile, ends up taking and puts the book on the shelf, and the book sits there. Who knows how long this book has been sitting on that top shelf until somebody like me comes along, reaches it down, and finds that little piece of paper in it. There's no telling how long that has been there. The paper in the book and the book on the shelf, and yet here I am. And the timing of me being there at that time, and the timing of her tuning in to get this piece that she's been looking for 3 years. It's astronomical. Now you could say this, or you could say it's miraculous timing. That's another thing that you could say. That's like if to her it was a miracle. That is why she shrieked. She was quite beside herself. She forgot herself entirely. She's in a bookstore. Okay, to her that was a perfectly natural response, because the welcomeness and the joyousness of it was just full on, because she just hit perfect timing just like that. And there's that piece that she's been looking for. And I was just thrilled to have been a part of it. And so next thing you know, I sit with her for about 4 hours, and we talked about all these fantastic kinds of things that I was learning and she was learning. She explained to me what the symbol meant to her and the journey that she's on in her life, which this was just like an answer to prayer for her. She just couldn't believe it, and it was finally time, and she was so excited because she saw this as a key element of moving forward, or like a graduation, for her to be able to get this tattoo finally, and be a part of this tribe that she saw and counted herself as, and to have the perfect one. She said, you know, I came so close a couple times, it's like, well, this one's not quite right. And she said, but I almost did, but I didn't. I waited. And that's what I'm saying. Be okay with being in that floodlight existence where you're not quite exactly, you know it's not quite right. You know it's not quite the right one, okay? But you kind of keep your antennas open all the way along the way, right? In this floodlight awareness, kind of keeping your eye open, just like you do when you're on the highway and you're sort of looking for a sign. You don't see the sign yet, okay, but you're kind of keeping your eye open, like, where's the sign that says Little Rock, so that I know how far it is. And so you got a floodlight awareness on that, okay? And then as you come into Little Rock, now we use more of the spotlight awareness. Okay, which sign is this? Which side am I on? Because there's 3 or 4 or 5 exits on there, right? Now we need to focus the specific. Okay, was it the first one or the third one? Which one has the hotel that I like? Add it. Okay, so that floodlight awareness comes back right into a spotlight awareness, and we can focus on those things. And then we know to take the foot off the gas, right? Now we're not going 95 miles an hour because we know we're going to be getting off of the exit right there, okay? So that's how that works. And you bring that floodlight awareness that you had back right down to spotlight awareness. And this is this is coming from a guy. This is why I don't, as much traveling as I've done, and guys, the road has been so good to me. I spend a lot of time. traveling on big, long, open highways. I don't use cruise control for specifically this, because if I take my foot off the gas, I want it to start slowing down right now. I want my spotlight awareness immediately with when my floodlight awareness picks up the thing that I need to do, just like I did with this lady in this bookstore. Her name was Tanya. And like I said, stacked every bit 4'6", man. Solid little thing. And somewhere out there, right now, there's a little gal that's 4'6" with a triskelion tattoo on the back of her neck. And people are going to ask her, wow, that's so cool. How, that's so cool. Why is that there? Why do you have that tattoo? Because it means something to her, and they're going to be curious as to why that is. And then she's going to tell them this cool story about how that it happened to be. Okay, because that was part of the journey that she is saying. But the point of what I'm trying to explain to you guys is, all of those things had already been in place, possibly. Not to mention that her desire to have this particular symbol is part of that component. You understand? That's part of the timing. That's part of the vibe, energy, vibration of the kind of two worlds that collided at that time. Not the least of which was me being in that bookstore as well. Okay? I was also used. I was a provision in my thought process of how I was treating this piece of paper that was in this book, was also provided that this entire thing would happen that she wanted to happen in her life. Okay? We're not going to kind of get into the whole manifestation thing. I don't know about some of those kinds of things. I'm just telling you guys the things that actually happened to me. And stepping into those things when we're just not sure how it's going to all work out. What I'm saying is trust that process, because those things are already there. You may not have run into them yet, but you might just be about to if you keep believing that that stuff is there. Keep having faith that it is there. Okay? Another way that I'll explain that to you, in a way that you can kind of test it, is if you have ever thought about buying something, okay, let's just say there's a thing that you want, and you don't see it coming, put yourself in the mindset that it is coming. It actually is. It's out there somewhere. If it off and on or right next to it. She might have walked down that aisle 3 or 4 or 5 times and walked right past that book, and she didn't see it because that's not her eye level. She's not able to reach it, for one. Okay, and she didn't know what she was looking for. So what I'm saying is, it was right there. She was in the bookstore for she said, I've been walking around in here for half an hour, 45 minutes. Okay, it's already there. Okay, it's just going to take 1 or 2 more elements for that to kind of come to pass. And the way that I'm going to explain that is, you have this, one thing I can tell you, if you decide that you're going to buy, or you think a good idea would be to buy a silver Jeep, well, you got that on your mind. I can guarantee you, whether you got it on your mind or whether you actually buy one, you might not have ever seen a silver Jeep in your entire life. But you get it on your mind that that's what you want, or you get it on your mind and you buy one, you're going to see silver Jeeps everywhere. You're going to go in the parking lot of the grocery store, you're going to see a silver Jeep. You're going to be on the highway, you're going to see a silver Jeep off to the side of the road. You're going to see silver Jeeps all over the place. Next thing you know, you're flipping through the magazine in the doctor's office. Well, there's a commercial for the brand new Jeeps. What color is the one that's in the commercial? Silver. Of course it is. Okay? Tell how many times this has happened to you guys. Those are the little kinds of synchronicities or coincidences or small miracles. That used to be the word for them. We just have fancier words now because Carl Jung came up with it in the 30s, and it sounds cooler to say a synchronicity rather than a miracle. Okay, cool. That's just what it is. And our minds are conditioned and attuned and aware to pick up those things because they're going to lead us where we need to be. And they're going to affirm to us the things that we need to be doing, okay? That's why those things, if you got your floodlight awareness on, those specific things are designed to bring your spotlight awareness to a direction or a path that you're supposed to be cutting. Understand? So sometimes when life is going about and doing its own kind of thing, and it just seems like all these things are happening to you, all these weird things. I want you to stop and ask and think about it a different way and wonder if these things are happening for you. See the little tiny bit of difference in the way that that feels right there? Instead of this thing is happening to me, and that would be kind of feel like you're subject to it. That would be like a floodlight awareness, okay? The big picture thing. And say, maybe this thing is happening for me. See how that narrows it right back down into kind of a laser beam focus? And when that happens, then things that'll make you shriek will happen to you. Trust me. You'll be like, wow. You will be so amazed at how that it is that that works. And that thing that you've been looking for maybe 3 years, man, it'll be right there. You'll just run right into it. And here's the thing. You didn't have to strive. You didn't have to effort. You didn't have to manhandle. You didn't have to command any. It's there, just like the wiring in your electric mirror right now. Just like the guy at McDonald's ready to give you your sausage and McMuffin. Okay, those things are already there for you. And a whole lot of the things that are in the world are kind of contrived to conspire to get you the things that you need. Okay? So try to begin to have faith in those kinds of things. And at this point, you don't even need faith. All you have to do is believe it. I'm telling you stories like this to show you that these are the kinds of things as far out, as cosmically, astronomically impossible that that seems. Because she had no idea that that would be the day that she would wake up and just go to a bookstore and then end up with the thing that she had just been asking for the most. Right? Tanya. And we talked about just how marvelous it is when things like that happen, man. And it's a thrill. I can tell you, I'm still a thrill about that. And that's why I have this story right now, because the conversation that she and I had kind of continued to open my mind about the way that we interact with the world and to change the way that I looked at how I am configuring and conspiring to make the world the place that it is as well. Like one of the things that I would do after that, you know, one thing that was always very kind of important to me, and I always kind of took it as little signs, when I would find a penny on the ground, okay? And a lot of people have that. There's even a little saying, find a penny, pick it up, all day long you'll have good luck. Little assurance. It actually does a little dopamine rush in your brain. It just makes us feel reassured, okay? It's a little good thing. Well, I started realizing that I was seeing them so often now, so I started asking for dimes instead. And you'd be amazed how many get out of the car at the grocery store and there's a dime right there. Lets me know I'm exactly where that it is that I need to be, so I started collecting dimes. Okay? Simple as that. Or like we would go to the laundromat and the piece of change that would be in the dryer of the clothes that we just were putting in there, be a dime, you know. It's not a quarter, it's not a penny, it's not a Canadian nickel, it's a dime. Okay, so that's what I'm finding, all right? And the other thing that I started to understand was somebody left these things here before me, and I decided I would just be wily enough to leave the things behind for the other people to find. Okay? Now's when you start kind of being, this is when it starts getting fun. Okay, and you can kind of play with it a little bit. And I'm getting off track, but it's because I have so much fun with this. Oh boy. So I started leaving pennies and dimes around, and there's other things. I won't go into some of those other stories about the kinds of things that I've left around for people to find, because you don't know. But somehow, if you feel inspired and you follow that little thing, just the thing that somebody else was looking for, see? And you become kind of part of that whole creation of everything that's going on, and you're the guy that put the wiring in the mirror, that put the wiring in the seat. Okay? So that's just kind of a fun way of looking at it. And then you realize that you are a piece of that was put in place to make all these amazing things happen. Okay, and we may never know. Like somebody else could have handed Tanya the book, and I would have never known, you know, if I had put it back in there, kind of how that went. But the fact that God or the universe or the vibration, however that it is that resonates with you, this energy that works, made all of this possible, was to use me as an important component of the things that are already installed, that already have the energy in them to capacitate or make this thing happen. It's already there, and she just walked into it, man. And what I'm telling you is this: it can all be the same way, and trust that those things are there. And just because you're not seeing it right this minute doesn't mean that it's not right there on the shelf, and that any minute you could be running into it, or somebody could just be right handing it to you. Okay? And so don't sleep on appreciating that, is what I'm getting at. Okay? Are happening right now. And just like a silver Jeep, you'll start seeing them happen more. Okay? When you go to McDonald's, I can guarantee you, if you order a Big Mac, there's going to be a guy there. It's very highly likely there's going to be a guy there that's going to hand you a Big Mac. It's going to be there for you. Okay? So don't sleep on appreciating that, because that is part of this process of understanding. If you look more at how often those things happen and your rearview mirror works, and you go in there to go ahead and cook you an omelet, there's a pan sitting right there for you to cook an omelet in. You got a skillet there, right? That thing was put there by your mom, by your cousin, your brother. Where did you get that skillet? Where did that come from? See? The pieces are already in place, and if you don't sleep on appreciating that already, okay, don't look at the things that you don't have. Look at how this process is already working in your life. And you put the attention on the focus of that's how it already works and consistently works, even to an astronomical degree. What are the chances? Okay? It works to that level, that degree, at times. Okay? And it's already there for you. And if you keep your mind on that part of it instead, you'll start seeing more of that. And then it really feels like you're clicking on all cylinders. Then it really feels like you got kind of perfect timing that's going on. Okay? You got that perfect timing that's going on. And when you understand that even the word appreciating, okay, appreciating is to observe and have an awareness of, to respect, okay, appreciate that, as well as, this is a word that has a lot of different meanings packed into it, okay, as well as to be grateful or thankful for. So that's kind of the vibe that you want to be. But here's the secret that I'm going to let kind of the advanced course tell you guys. Appreciating, if you understand, if you've ever done any investing, you know that what you want is a return on your investment, okay? You want your property value to appreciate. This is the word. This means for it to grow and expand, okay? For something to appreciate in value means for it to go up higher in the value, okay? So this is another way that you can understand that not only when you are appreciating, seeing all the silver Jeeps, or understanding that someone went before you and paved the path and these things in our way, but when you appreciate and don't sleep on, don't take it for granted, see? Okay? Appreciate it. So when you think that you grow, and that's what grows in your awareness. Now, if mostly what you're doing is appreciating the fact of what you don't have, that is what is going to appreciate in your awareness. You understand? So don't concentrate, don't focus, don't put your, especially your pinpoint focus on whatever it is that you're not having or how it's not working, because then you're going to see more of that thing happening, just like you're going to see more silver Jeeps, even if you try to not look now for silver Jeeps. Okay, so instead, change your focus, and if you don't want to see any more silver Jeeps, what I can tell you is start looking for black Jeeps. And pretty soon, you're not going to see as many silver Jeeps, you'll see black Jeeps. Okay? Or you're going to see dimes instead of pennies. because that's where you're focusing the attention of your broader attention. Again, let's do this practice again. You're listening to the sound of my voice. Now, that's your spotlight awareness. Let's go ahead and try for just a second and listen outside of my voice. What's going on in the room outside of your room, the space that you're in? What's going on outside at the front of your house or apartment? See, right now I hear gunshots off in the distance of the game here. Okay, now bring it back right now to my voice and pay attention to me again. See how that works? In that outside awareness, there will be something that'll come into it. Just like I heard these gunshots, and you probably did too on the game here. That may be a focus where your attention needs to go next. You understand? Okay, and you've got that broad floodlight awareness. That's what's going to kind of pick up or trigger you, just like me seeing Tanya in the bookstore. I saw, because of the way of her demeanor, that she looked different than the other people that were in the bookstore to me. Okay, she had a different quote-unquote frequency, if you want to call it that. She had a different vibe. Okay, I refer to that now, like I explained to you about Jackie. She was on, and so that's why I went over and looked at her. I have a way of I'm learning the words to express these kinds of things that I have done for a long time. I'm just now getting the words to be able to express them. That's why I'm doing some of the videos that I am. I am walking into the kinds of things where I am getting more provision that I need in order to step forward in this path, see? And sometimes it's not a thing. It's not a concrete thing. It's not a Jeep. It's not a symbol or a drawing. Sometimes it's a thought process. Sometimes it's a piece of information. Sometimes it's a piece of technology, just like what? Get in these TVs and you don't know why it's there, but here soon along comes the reason. Here soon along comes the guy with the cowboy hat going, hey, is this maybe for you? And then you have this amazing thing that happens. And what I'm saying is, all of those things are already in place. Whatever they're already there, and start broadening your awareness, okay? Don't let pain is another thing that will focus us too tight in a spotlight awareness. Let go of that. Be okay with that for a minute. Put it to the side, just like if you're going 85 miles an hour on the highway, even in heavy traffic, you can take and put your coffee cup down into the coffee holder, right? It's still going to be there. You can come back to it, okay? But put your pain aside for a second and let that broadening of that floodlight awareness kind of take in the surroundings and see what something's going on out there, okay? And see what catches your notice, because that may be the thing that you need to go focus and concentrate on next for a minute, okay? And if you go over there and do that thing, it's going to lead you right into where it is that you need to be, smack into where you need to be, and all of those pieces are already in place. Just like when you go and reach for your keys and you go to turn your ignition on in your vehicle, it's going to turn over. That fire is going to be there because somebody a long time ago put the things together to make sure that it would be. And those are the kinds of things, if we can just start looking for every example of that you can find right now. All of those things that are already in place to make things happen. Right now you're going to go ahead and make them. Do you have frozen corn in your freezer right now? Who doesn't? Okay. There you go. That wealth of possibilities already exists. Okay? And it's how we go ahead and appreciate them that continues the path forward to where it is that you're going next. And the things, you can trust me, are already there installed. Just like there's television sitting in my living room floor, and I don't even know why. Just like there's wiring in my mirrors and heated seats, and I don't know how it got there, but somebody put it there for me. Okay? And just like that triskelion was in that book, too high for her to reach, so not only did somebody put the triskelion there for her, somebody put me there for her to be able to facilitate handing it to her and make me a part of this process so that I would come to understand how this process works, so that I could come here and tell you about it. Because I wouldn't be here without this free TV and I wouldn't be there without the conversation, 4-hour conversation that I had with Tanya. Okay? So I'm telling you, trust the process, keep going, learn how to broaden the expanse of that awareness that you have, that floodlight awareness, and keep your eye open for those cool things that are coming your way. Because I promise you they are. They're already there. Just like I know that you guys are already there. I'm sitting here speaking out of my spotlight awareness to a broad canvas of floodlight consciousnesses that are out there, and I know that they're out there because the same way that I scanned the bookstore, okay, with my awareness, I was looking around with a floodlight consciousness. That's how I picked Tanya out of the group of 12, 15 people that are in this bookstore, right? Same thing, writers, that's what I'm telling you. When I'm using this floodlight awareness, I can pick out different senses of consciousness, of ideals that are out there, and that's what triggers the story that I'm going to tell you next. See, that's how that works. And I may have that thing that's just the thing that you were looking for, just like I had the piece of paper for Tanya. Okay? Now what I'm able to pick instead of a piece of paper out of a book is a story or a chapter out of my life that seems to apply. And just like I'm just using my intuition, I'm guessing. I didn't know if this lady is a thing. I could look like a fool. And she said, I don't know you, go away. Okay, but that's not what happened. What happened was this amazing thing. And that's a true story, and that's how it works with Shadow Kings. Okay, we're open to it. A lot of times we're open to it because of pain that we have suffered that makes us look for these answers. And I can tell you, that's the road I've been on, guys. Okay? It isn't easy, but there's a reason that you're here. And there's a reason that you're getting this information, just in the same way. This is a provision for you in the same way of a silver Jeep, or mirror wiring, or the skillet that's in there, or the guy at McDonald's. This is the exact same thing right there. Your floodlight awareness is already asking for these questions, and that's why this is here. And so you can put your spotlight attention on it, and you'll go, yeah, I understand now. That's the thing that was provisioned for me. Okay, that means you're on the right track. I'm with you. Okay, why are we not? What do we got with the horse here? I guess a whole confessor has had enough. You see me feed him, it's not working. Okay, so that's my story. I'm sticking to it. You guys got your story. You're going to be sticking to it. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of encouragement to keep on your way and understand how that it is that we shift gears in our mind and drive into some of those best things that are going to happen for us, even if they're completely unexpected. They're already in place, and we're going to learn how to trust that. We're going to learn how to trust that process. Good night, Shadow Kings.